we give all of our private lenders the same protection that the local bank requires. We even name our private lenders on the insurance policy as the mortgagee. So if there is an insurance claim against the property, that check from the insurance company is made payable to the private lender and to the borrower. We name the private lender on the title insurance policy as an additional insured in case there's any title issues down the road. And so it's very important for the investment or the loan to be conservative so you're protected.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Money is nothing more than doing business with ordinary people, regular ordinary people like you and me, and they have investment capital or they have retirement funds, and they're not happy with the rate of return they're getting.
Hey, welcome to another great podcast. Thanks for joining us today. You know, we're always here to inspire and educate you. And today at the Elite Expert Insider Podcast, we have Jay Conner with us. You know, real estate has just been going crazy lately. And everything I keep seeing on my Instagram and TikTok feeds is like, hey, it's going to be the year. You better jump in now. But what if you don't have money? What if you don't even know where to start? So Jay has been an expert in private lending. And so he has a book. It's like where to get your money now, right? So I love that. We all want to know where to get money and how to use other people's money, and versus just going to a bank. Oh, look, and he's got his book right there. Awesome. Jay, welcome. Thanks for coming today.
Oh, my lands, Melanie. Thank you so much for having me on here on the show at the Elite Expert Insider Podcast, for goodness sakes. And I'm so excited to talk about and visit on my favorite topic that I'm so passionate about, and that's private money and private lending. And the reason for that is because this one strategy, this one funding strategy has had a bigger impact on our real estate investing business than anything else ever since we started all the way back in 2003. And we're here in Eastern North Carolina, small market, only 40,000 people that we target here, and we do a couple of deals a month. Our average profits, though, are $86,000, and I don't share that to brag at all. I share that to make a point, and that is there's an argument to be made to be a big fish in a small pond when it comes to real estate investing.
They say, you know, in marketing, you need to have a niche. You don't have to be to everybody. You know, find your small niche if you want, you know, like you say, to become that big fish and dominate that market. And I love that you have a book, because I don't know if you know that I own, and for over a decade, I've owned Elite Online Publishing, which is a book publishing company. So we are a huge fan of having a book that helps you market yourself. So I love that you have a book. We're going to talk about more about that later. So how did you even get involved in this? Give us a little bit about your background and your history.
Sure. My wife, Carol Joy, and I, we're here in Eastern North Carolina. And this year, 40 years of marriage. Oh, my lands, 40 years.
That's a whole nother podcast to talk about that.
Well, she's very patient. I can tell you that. She's very patient. But anyway, I was raised in the mobile home industry, manufactured housing, helping families own affordable housing. Unfortunately, the financing for that product fell out of favor with Wall Street back in the early 2000s. And I knew if I ever wanted to get out of mobile homes, I wanted to get into single family houses. So that's when we started. We started in 2003. And I'll tell you, it's funny, from 2003 until January of 2009, the only thing I knew to do those first 6 years, the only thing I knew to do was go to the local bank or go to a mortgage company and have a line of credit, to fund my deals. And that's all I knew. Everything changed. Everything changed in January 2009, at least for us. I called up my banker. I thought I still had a line of credit at the bank. And I had 2 houses under contract to purchase. And I learned like that over the phone that my line of credit had been closed with no notice to me. And I said to my banker, his name was Steve, I said, Steve, what in the world are you telling me? My line of credit is closed. I said, we got a 6-year business relationship, done a lot of deals, never late on payments. Why is my line of credit closed? He said, Jay, don't you know that there is a global financial crisis going on right now? But you just gave me a financial crisis because I don't have a way to fund these 2 deals.
Yeah.
And so I hung up the phone. I sat here at my desk for a moment and I asked myself a very important question. And the question I asked myself was, who do I know that can help me with my problem? And it's interesting. When I asked that question, I immediately thought of a good friend, Jeff Blankenship. He was living in Greensboro, North Carolina at the time, and he was investing in single family houses. So I called up Jeff. I told Jeff my problem. And he said, Jay, welcome to the club. I said, I'm not sure I want to be a member of that club, but what club are you talking about? He said, that's the club of having the bank shut down your line of credit. He says, my bank shut me down last week. I said, how are you going to fund your real estate deals? He said, well, have you ever heard of private money and private lending? I said, no. He said, have you ever heard of self-directed IRAs to where people can move their current retirement funds over to a self-directed IRA company and then lend that money out to us real estate investors? And the interest that we pay them is either tax deferred or tax free. I said, Jeff, you're talking total Greek to me. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, what's private money? He said, I'm not really sure. He said, but there's this gentleman down in Jacksonville, Florida, by the name of Ron LeGrand. And I said, who's Ron LeGrand? He said, I'm not too sure about that, but Ron says we can get a lot of private money really fast. I said, let's go. That was my first real estate investing conference that I attended February of 2009. And oh boy, did I learn about private money. Private money is nothing more than doing business with ordinary people, regular ordinary people like you and me, and they have investment capital or they have retirement funds, and they're not happy with the rate of return they're getting. I call it lazy money. Lazy money. It's like in the local bank, earning 0.02% on a savings account or less than 3% in a certificate of deposit. And so their money's not working for them. And so I came back home after that conference and I put my opportunity together that I was just going to share with people in my own network. And I was able to raise a little over $2 million in less than 90 days, not attached to any particular deal. Because you have probably heard this, and it drives me crazy. The guru stands on stage and is teaching real estate investors, and the guru says, oh, just get the deal under contract. The money will show up. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not, but it makes no sense to me. So what I did is I got the money raised first and then started making offers on properties based on that money. And then I call up my private lenders, and we've had 47 private lenders, individuals, just regular people, loaning us money on our deals. And then I don't have to pitch a deal. They already know the underwriting. They already know the criteria. And I just call them up with the good news phone call to put their money to work. And that's how easy it is. So separating those conversations of offering an opportunity and then having a deal for the private lenders to fund is just so critical.
That's so smart. And then they can get the details and they can decide who's going to come in and who's not. Tell me a couple questions I've got now. I want you to define hard money lending and the difference between hard money and just doing private money investment. And what type of percentage do they get paid on the deal? What should you offer? I've done some private lending and I know what I was offered in the deal. So I'd love to hear, what should a private lender expect and what should someone searching for a private lender offer? And the difference between that and getting a hard money loan.
Yeah. So let's start with hard money. So there's a big difference between hard money and private money. Hard money is typically a brokerage. It's a firm that has gone out, established a fund for individuals to invest in the fund. And then the hard money lender it's institutional money. Hard money is institutional money. So hard money lenders then loan that money out. So they might be paying their investors 8%, maybe 10%, and then they loan that money back out at 12% and charge points and fees and that type of thing. So that's dealing with a commercial lender, hard money. A private money lender, there's no brokerage involved, the person. It's a direct one-on-one transaction. The individual that is lending that money and the borrower, the real estate investor. So that's the big difference. There's no brokerage involved in private money lending.
So I always thought like you could call a private lender a hard money lender as an individual too, because maybe the interest rate was high. So it's really, that's the differentiating. So it's just a matter of words. A private lender is never called a hard money lender. It's just a private lender. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Correct. And then as far as the interest rate, I have been paying and offering my private lenders ever since February of 2009, a long time. Ever since 2009, I've been paying them 8%. And a lot of private lenders, hard money lenders, they'll be getting 12%. But here's the interesting fact. There's three categories of private lenders. Private lenders are either in your own network, in your cell phone, your email list, your own warm market. Second category is your expanded network. Teach and coach real estate investors how to expand their network, business networking, international, etc. And the third category are existing private lenders. So here's the thing. An existing private lender, I don't take on the mindset of being a teacher to teach private money, because an existing private lender such as yourself, they already know. They already know what private money is. So of all the 47 private lenders that Carol Joy and I have had, none of them, zero, none of them had ever heard of private money or private lending.
You had to educate them.
I was able to educate them on this opportunity, and they weren't already spoiled at 12%. Right. So when I come along and offer 8%, and they compare that to what they can get in the local bank or a certificate of deposit, or, maybe
like today around 4%,
So I'm offering double, and I'm not borrowing unsecured funds. I'm backing their promissory note with the real estate that I'm buying. So everything that I'm borrowing is what we call asset-backed debt. Asset-backed debt. So they're getting their own. Here in North Carolina, it's a deed of trust, most states, but they've got their own mortgage, their own deed of trust, and that's their legal recourse. If I don't pay them, the property does.
Now, in the deal that I had, I was subordinating the loan, like I owned the land, but I got interest on the money. But then they were building things and then selling them. So I also got profit participation. I don't know if you flip these single family, do investors also, have you ever done a deal where you've structured some of the profit participation as well as the 8%? Or do you just do straight 8%?
Yeah, I do a straight 8%. So the private lender, think of the private lender, at least in my world, as the bank. So they know exactly what the interest rate's going to be that they're going to get. And so instead of putting their money in a certificate of deposit, they are investing the money, loaning the money on the real estate.
And does it work the same way? Like when you do a mortgage, you're paying heavy on the interest first before you're paying more principal. It seems like, is that the same way that you structure the loan, just like a mortgage?
Yeah. So all the interest is interest only. So it's either accrued interest only, or it's, some of our private lenders are elderly and they are relying on the income, the supplemental income per month. So when we pay or accrue interest only, that's a win for the private lender, and that's a win for the borrower, the real estate investor. And here's how. If we were making principal and interest payments, the lender is not going to make as much money, because if you're paying principal and interest, you're paying the principal amount down. If it's interest only, then their total principal investment stays invested. So they earn more money, right? And then it's also a win for the borrower, the real estate investor, because if you're making payments, interest only payments are smaller, so it helps the cash flow than principal and interest. So it's a win-win for both parties.
Now, are you doing a balloon note? Is it a 5-year, 10-year note? And are you having an exit on the properties? What is the strategy?
Yeah. In the past recent years, we've been renovating all the properties, turning them into like brand new properties and selling them in the MLS. So most of that turn happens like within a year to 18 months, depending on how extensive the renovation is. Now, I've sold a lot of properties using private money, private lenders, and I'd sell the properties on lease purchase, which means same thing as rent to own. And that would be people that don't qualify for a mortgage today, but we help them get ready for a mortgage. And so all of our notes are either 2 years or 5 years. If it's liquid investment capital, it's 5 years if it's retirement funds, but typically we don't use the money even that long.
Now, on the lease to purchase option, do they do a deposit, so much money down? It was the first question. And then the other part is any of the lease payment going towards principal, or is it just all basically interest only?
So the initial deposit, we call it, the legal term is an option fee. The slang is a non-refundable lease option deposit. These people that are buying these houses, they're going to put down a minimum of 5% of the purchase price. And that deposit is non-refundable. To get ready for a mortgage, that's applied to their closing costs and their purchase price. But if they do not get ready for a mortgage within the term, which is typically 1 or 2 years, then that is non-refundable.
Okay, and then again,
the rent is rent. Rent is rent. So
nothing goes towards.
Nothing is going towards the purchase except that initial non-refundable lease option deposit.
So I always wondered about that. I think that's a great deal for the property owner. I think it's a real crummy deal for the person who's leasing, because if they don't qualify, 2 years goes by, they put 5% down on, a $500,000 house or $200,000 house, right? They never get that back, and they paid lease payments versus if they just rented. I guess they lock in the price if the property goes up, but they take that risk of walking away and losing that non-refundable deposit and not moving towards, or like, well, great, I couldn't get a mortgage and now I have no equity and I paid all these lease payments and I lost my 20 grand or 10 grand or whatever it was.
Yeah. So my deal with our lease purchase buyers is if they will follow the program that we tell them to do to get ready for a mortgage, they're going to be the owner of a house. They don't even think that they're renters. Their mindset is owners, right? And let's say they don't get ready for a mortgage within a year or 2 years.
Right.
Guess what? If they have been a good tenant, I'm not going to kick them out to go anywhere. I'm going to extend that lease purchase term and continue to work with them to help them get a mortgage, because that's their intention. That's my intention, is for them to be a homeowner.
I like that. And then they don't feel so bad. They can keep going. It's like, I have another shot at it. And you can tell them, hey, this is what you didn't do. This is what you need to do to get ready for that mortgage, so you're in a good position. So where do you find money? I mean,
you're talking about from private lenders?
Yeah, you talked about that a little bit, of going through your list and then expending your list. So I know the next question I really want to ask is, who do you trust? Because the group of people I got involved with, they turned out not to be as honest as I would have liked them to be. So how do you know you're getting in bed, so to speak, so you can have that 40-year marriage like you did with somebody that you can trust on the other end, that you're going to get your money and all those other things in the paperwork? is really good because some people aren't as savvy. Maybe they're not checking the paperwork and they're just saying, sounds like a great deal. Let me sign up.
That's a great question. So first of all, do not loan money on a deal and do business with someone that you don't know what their track record is, for goodness sakes, right? So there's a 5-letter word that starts with a T. It's called trust. Why would you trust in someone, an operator? What's their track record? How long have they been in business? And then a very important part is, what is the maximum loan to value? Like in my world, I don't borrow more than 75% of the after repaired value. That's one way that we protect our private lenders, is giving them a 25% equity cushion. We also, it's a big question, how are you as a private lender protected? So for example, we give all of our private lenders the same protection that the local bank requires. We even name our private lenders on the insurance policy as the mortgagee. So if there is an insurance claim against the property, that check from the insurance company is made payable to the private lender and to the borrower. We name the private lender on the title insurance policy as an additional insured in case there's any title issues down the road. And so it's very important for the investment or the loan to be conservative so you're protected.
All right. And then, let's say I want to be a private investor, but I haven't listened to this podcast maybe, and I'm looking to find a deal. How do I find a deal? Where are places I can go and find someone like you?
Oh, sure. You can attend and you can join the local in your area real estate investor association. So like you're in North Carolina, there's the North Carolina Real Estate Investor Association. There's a chapter in Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, Wilmington, and Fayetteville. You can also join local meetups. And so if you're looking to be a private lender, you can join the local Real Estate Investing Association, and you will be one of the most popular members.
I love it. You've been a wealth of information, Jay. Tell people where they can find you.
The easiest way to find me is for me to give your audience, if you're listening or watching this podcast, let me just give you my book. I'd love to give you my book. It's a national bestseller, Where to Get the Money Now. Subtitle, How and Where to Get Money for Your Real Estate Deals Without Relying on Traditional or Hard Money Lenders. And it's $20 on Amazon, but don't give Amazon $20. Let me give you the book for free if you will just cover shipping and handling. I'll express mail it out to you. I'll autograph the book. And I spill all the beans. I spill all the beans in the book, all 20 points that I offer my private lenders. So you can get the book by going to www.jayconner.com. I'm an ER, not an OR. So jayconner.com/book. And I will rush the book right out to you. Now, in addition to the book, I got 2 more quick free gifts for the audience. And that is, one popular question I get from new capital raisers is, how do I start conversations? So let me give you one of my private lender scripts. It's called the Curiosity Opener. You can download it. It's a PDF. And you can download that script at jayconner.com/scripts. And then my final gift is I do 3 live events a year in person. It's called the Private Money Conference. Nice. And there's not another conference like it on the planet, 3-day conference where we talk private money all 3 days. And you can get information on that conference at www.jayconner.com/event. And that'll give you all the details. It's a $3,000 event. But because you're listening to this show, you get to come for a measly $97 registration fee for you and a guest.
I love that. And, being a publisher, you're using your book exactly the way we tell our authors to use our book. Give it away for free. Get it in as many people's hands as you can. And I just love that. You've got it down. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we'll see you next time. And if you're looking to become an author and use your book just the way that Jay did to bring people and get more leads and share your information, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. We guarantee you'll be a best-selling author. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay.